Postgres is an open source object relational database system, and it uses the common SQL language. It has grown a lot since its humble beginnings in 1986 at the University of California at Berkeley. And if you are thinking about getting into database development, I would encourage you to start with Postgres as you learn. Now, you could download this onto your system using the installers right here. However, thanks to the power of the internet, we now have the ability today, in the event that, let's say, you're working on a slower machine, that you can actually build your databases online using platform as a service cloud options. The one I want to use today is Heroku. Heroku, for me, has a really easy to use interface. So I'll show you in this video how to create a database and how to access it from your local machine for the purpose of development. So you would obviously create an account, and once you've logged into your Heroku account, you'll be on this screen. In order to get started, you would need to create a new application. We can talk about pipelines later, which are also a very useful feature. Give it a unique name. We'll call mine BWiz Labs. Choose your region. Again, pipelines, we'll skip that for now. Create app. You'll see on your screen a lot of options here. Again, a lot of it talking about these pipelines, how to deploy your application. And I really do want to cover all this in another video because this really does make software development a lot easier, especially when you're working in teams and going through multiple versions. But for right now, we're just going to cover how to put a database in Heroku so that you can start using it and learning and developing on it. You can go to, so if you go to your resources tab right here, and under add-ons, start typing Postgres. And you'll see a couple options here. Heroku has their own Postgres database. There's a few others. We'll use Heroku's. And on this screen, you'll see there's a few options for which plan you want. So you'll see that there is a free option. That's the one we're going to go with today. However, if this was going to be a production system where you were actually deploying a web application that was going to have a lot of users, you would need to choose appropriately which level of plan you need and consider the cost concurrently. So we'll choose a free one and hit provision. And really it's that simple. You have now created a Heroku Postgres database. And you can actually start using it at this point. Obviously we haven't deployed a Heroku, an application on Heroku, but for development purposes, if you wanted to interact with this database on your local machine, you would just need to click on here, right here on the name, Heroku database, Heroku Postgres. It'll pull a new screen up, and it's going to tell you a few things. First off, that it's available, it's healthy, how many connections you have and are allowed. And you'll see these are your limitations with the free one. 20 connections and 10,000 rows of data. It tells you the size of your database and how many tables you have, which right now we have 0, obviously. A few other things here we can cover later. Right now what we want to do is go here under settings. We have database credentials. If you click here, you'll see, well, first off, you'll see these credentials are not permanent. So keep in mind, if you're using these, it's only for your development process. In production, when you deploy your applications to the rest of the Heroku system, that you will not be plugging username and passwords in manually obviously for security purposes. But for now, we're going to copy some of this data so we can log into our database and start working with it. You can use whatever tool you want to use for this. I'm using DataGrip. Yeah, so you'll see, obviously, we have our local host. But if you want to create a new connection to your online database, you would just find this plus symbol right here. And we're going to add a new data source. And we'll plug in our data. So for host, we'll paste in our address. We'll select username, password, login. We'll put in our database name, our username, and our password. And the port is on default. We'll test our connection real quick, make sure it's working. Everything looks good, so we'll hit OK. And it's establishing the connection. And we're waiting. And we are in there. So you'll see there's a ton of roles. You can ignore that for now. And here's our database. And there's nothing inside of it for the moment. So over here in the console, just to make sure everything's properly set up, we'll just create a table real quick, a test table. We'll call it test 1. And we'll give it a random column. Hang on, let's see. And then what we'll do is we'll run this. Okay. Having some technical difficulties. Just give me a quick moment to see. Oh, I'm stupid. And so we'll just go ahead and we'll run this. And we'll see it completed. And we can see here on the left hand side it did create the table. And if we just wanted to verify from the console, we could do so. And we'll see, obviously it's empty at the moment, but it did create that table and our single field for it. And that's it. It's really that simple, guys. Yeah, so if you are learning for the first time how to get a database going, this is the easiest way. Again, you can download it and install it on your local machine, but for free, you can do the same thing on Heroku. If you're learning, if you want to get into some, if you want to learn how to interact with platform as a service, again, we'll cover all that later for CD, continuous development, continuous for CI, continuous integration, things of that nature. Heroku is really a really good platform, in my opinion, for that. And so that's why it's kind of my go-to for applications. But yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching.